with Ukraine and this mineral deal, what does Ukraine get in return, Mr. President?
$350 billion and lots of equipment, military equipment, and the right to fight on, and originally the right to fight. Look, Ukraine, I will say, they're very brave and they're good soldiers, but without the United States and its money and its military equipment, this war would have been over in a very short period of time. In fact, I was the one that gave the Javelins. You remember the famous Javelins? That was me. That wasn't Obama. It wasn't Biden. It wasn't anybody else. It was me. And they wiped out a lot of tanks with those Javelins. And the expression was that Obama gave sheets and I gave the Javelins. That was a big deal at the time. It wiped out. That was the beginning when people said, wow, that's something. Well, that was American equipment. Without American equipment, this war would have been over very quickly. And American money, too. I mean, a lot of money.
So that war-fighting equipment and the ammunition, that's sustained going forward for Ukraine, and how long is it sustained?
Well, it could go forward for a while, and maybe until we have a deal with Russia. Look, we need to have a deal with Russia, otherwise it's going to continue. But now when Americans put up their money, the taxpayer money, and the president approves it, we're getting our money back in some form. But it could go on for a while, or it could be settled quickly. I think it's going to be settled quickly. I spoke with President Putin. I think he wants to settle it and wants to get on with life.
This is my video update on this Wednesday afternoon, February the 26th, coming to you from Athens, Greece. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with some breaking news, which has to do with Georgescu in Romania. The reports are that he was on his way to submit his documents for the elections, for the presidential elections in Romania, and his car was stopped by the police, and he has been taken into custody. What is going on in Romania, man? What is going on? Really bad look for Romania, a really bad look. This is breaking news at the time of recording this video, so probably when I post this video, we'll get some more information as to what is happening here. But his media team, they posted on X, today, Călin Georgescu was supposed to submit his candidacy for the new presidency. Just 10 minutes ago, the system stopped him in traffic and he was taken for questioning at the General Prosecutor's office. Where is democracy now? Where are the partners? Who should defend democracy? Communication team at Real Donald Trump, at Elon Musk, at JD Vance. Democracy. European Union style. EU democracy. In action. In Romania. Oh, man. Just wrong, man. Absolutely wrong. Anyway, let's wait and see what more information we get. But doesn't look good for elections in Romania. So let's talk about Lavrov's press conference. I believe he was in the UAE, either the UAE or Qatar, and he had a press conference. And Lavrov, he said that there will be a meeting between Russian officials and U.S. officials, a follow-up meeting from the Riyadh summit, and they will be discussing the Ukraine negotiations in more detail, the conflict in Ukraine. They will get into more detail. This will not be, from what I understand, this will not be a meeting between Lavrov and Rubio. This will be a meeting between high-level Russian officials, high-level U.S. officials, and they will start getting into the details of the conflict. That's going to take place on the 27th, tomorrow, and it's going to take place in in Turkey, from what I understand. That's interesting. I think it's Turkey. Anyway, Lavrov also said during this media event that there will be no ceasefire. It's not going to happen. He said that Russia has a constitution. We have a constitution, he said, and the ceasefire is a no-go. He also said that Ukraine must be freed from racist laws and that there has been no discussion with the U.S. on Russian frozen assets. They haven't talked about any of this stuff. And he also clarified that, going off of Putin's interview from the other day, that any investment in the four oblasts, the four new oblasts for Russia, that any investment that were to take place in these four new oblasts, that Russia means all of the regions in their entirety, which means even the parts of Kherson and Zaporozhye, Lugansk, Donetsk, where Ukraine controls certain parts of these regions, that any investment that Putin was talking about means all of the region, because they consider all of the regions as part of the Russian Federation. So he said that as well in his media event. No ceasefire is what Lavrov said. No ceasefire. Because U.S. President Trump, he was doing another executive order signing, and it has now become tradition, I guess. But he had the media there, and it was another executive order mini press event. And he was asked about Ukraine, the conflict in Ukraine, and Trump said that they are close. The United States is close. He feels confident that they're going to get to a ceasefire. Lavrov is saying no ceasefire. Peskov is saying no ceasefire. Everyone in Russia, at the Kremlin, they're saying no ceasefire, not going to happen. But Trump and his team continue to talk about a ceasefire. That's the goal, to get to a ceasefire. Either Trump is talking nonsense, or he's talking to the neocons and Europe, trying to calm them down. I don't know, or Putin told him something that he hasn't told anybody else in his administration, including Lavrov and Medvedev and Zakharova, which is that he told Trump, yeah, we agree to a ceasefire. I don't know what is going on, but the Trump administration continues to talk about a ceasefire. So he said that. And the other day, when he was meeting with Macron, and he was asked about peacekeeping forces, with Macron sitting next to him in the Oval Office, Trump said that he talked to Putin, and Putin was okay with sending peacekeepers to Ukraine. He said that Putin would go for that, and he's already talked to Putin about it. The Kremlin had to come out with a statement saying, no, that didn't happen. We will not have peacekeepers in Ukraine, especially, I mean, they made it a point, the Kremlin said, especially peacekeepers from the EU or from NATO, any countries that were a participant in this conflict. No way. They're not going to be in Ukraine. That includes the UK. There will be no troops in Ukraine from these countries, and they will be seen as enemy combatants. Actually, the Foreign Ministry issued a statement today, and they pretty much said the same thing. There will be no EU countries participating in the negotiations because of their, I believe the word the Foreign Ministry used was militaristic. Their militaristic approach to the conflict in Ukraine means that they have disqualified themselves from being part of any negotiations that are going to take place. And Foreign Ministry specifically said EU member states, they will have no part in the negotiations for Ukraine. And that also means no peacekeepers. So Trump said that, and the Kremlin had to issue a denial. And he also said that the U.S. is interested in Russian rare earth, rare earth minerals. Rare earth minerals, everybody. that is the word of the words of the month. Rare earth minerals. That's right. Everyone's talking about those rare earth minerals. Anyway, Trump said, look, yeah, we're interested in doing business with Russia for these resources in rare earth minerals. And when Trump said that, when the video was posted of Trump saying that in the Oval Office, as he was signing executive orders, the man in Russia who is responsible for foreign investment, he quoted on X that video, and he said, posted it with a quote, and he said, one second, let me get you what Kirill Dmitriev said. Quote, Russia has the 4th largest rare earth reserves in the world. And it's a video where Trump says, I'd like to buy minerals on Russian land too, if we can. The rare earth. They have very good rare earth. Also, we can do deals there. They have very good rare earth, man. They have very, very good rare earth. Look, rare earth, everybody. This rare earth is everywhere, rare earth. Rare earth minerals. The ancient Greeks, they had a lot of rare earth minerals. Look, Dmitriev, his position is for foreign investment, and that's his job. His job is to get money, foreign investment. That's his job. So I imagine he likes what Trump is saying when he talks about doing business with Russia, the United States. So I would not be surprised if the Kremlin, if Putin is getting a lot of pressure from the various oligarchs, business interests, who are probably telling Putin, okay, we've done this patriotism thing for 3 years, right? It's time to get back to business. I would not be surprised if there's a lot of pressure towards Putin from the very powerful oligarchs and business interests in Russia that would like to see investment from the United States. So that was what Trump said about the rare earths and Russia. And he was also asked about rare earth minerals and Ukraine. And Trump said that he heard that Zelensky might be rolling into town. That's what he said. I heard that Zelensky might be coming into town. Is that true? Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah. No, I have no problem, he said, with Zelensky coming here and signing a rare earth minerals deal. That was the way he put it. I have no problem with him coming to the White House and signing a rare earth minerals deal.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that he's coming on Friday. Certainly, it's okay with me if he'd like to. And he would like to sign it together with me. And I understand that's a big deal, very big deal. And I think the American people, even if you look at polling, they're very happy because, you know, Biden was throwing money around like it's cotton candy. And it's a very big deal. Look, it could be $1 trillion deal. It could be whatever. But it's rare earths and other things. And look, we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars on Ukraine and Russia fighting a war that should have never, ever happened. That's a war that should... When Europe has spent $100 billion, we've spent $350 billion. Europe gets their money back because they spent it in the form of a loan, and we just gave them, whether it's 300 or 350 billion, nobody really knows. They can't even tell me the answer to that.
Now that we have this deal in place, we can give Ukraine money and weapons, and the American people will know that this time around, this is not just just a gift. We're actually getting something in return because we're going to have this rare earth minerals deal. And then he went off, and this is where he really, really lost it. In my opinion, this is where Trump really lost it. I mean, he was already starting to lose it as he was talking about Ukraine and the rare earth minerals deal, but then he really turned this executive order media event into a train wreck because he started to talk about javelins. This war would have never happened if I was president, and I was the toughest on Russia. I got the war going. That's pretty much what he said. I got the war going. I gave Ukraine javelins, and those javelins took out so many Russian tanks, and they were amazing. And I'm the one that gave Ukraine javelins. And Ukraine can fight on now, knowing that they can get weapons and money from us, and we've got the rare earth deal, so we're going to get something in return. I mean, the whole thing just went off the rails. Completely off the rails, man. Trump is taking credit for the Javelin wonder weapons, which is true, which is absolutely true. Trump, he escalated big time with Russia, and he did give Ukraine lethal weapons, and he bragged about it. But now that you're negotiating with Russia and you say that you want to get to some sort of a deal with the conflict in Ukraine, this was not the smartest statement to make. Not good, because the Russians are looking at all of this. They're listening to Trump, and they're probably saying, oh boy, here we go again. And so Russia's going to harden its position. Trump was making it out to be some sort of negotiating leverage, right? We got the minerals deal, and now we can supply Ukraine with weapons and money. So if Russia wants to make a deal, and he said, I believe Putin doesn't want to make a deal, that would be great. And let's get a deal quickly. Otherwise, now that we got the minerals deal, we can fight this conflict with Russia for a long time. That was his message. Trying to play it tough, hardball with Putin and Russia, which is a big mistake. Because Trump may think he has leverage on Russia, but he has no leverage on Russia, man. There is no leverage on Russia. Threats and stuff like this does not work with Putin. It will not work with Russia. Russia's just going to harden their position. And this was a mistake. This was a terrible mistake, these comments from Trump, an absolutely terrible mistake. And taking credit for the javelins, come on, man. Come on. The Telegraph, just 2 weeks ago, reported that the Russians have more Javelin missiles than javelins than the British Army. That's what the Telegraph reported. Russia has more javelins than the entire British military. The javelins, Javelin and Javelinas, the wonder weapon. Remember when Biden gave that speech way in the beginning of the special military operation? And he said that the children in Ukraine, the most popular name for newborns is Javelin and Javelina. And everyone was laughing at Biden. And now Trump is taking credit for all of this. Why? Why are you taking credit for this? Why are you taking credit for this failed wonder weapon? Why are you taking credit for this failed catastrophe? Stop it. Walk away. Walk away, Trump. We've been saying this on the Duran for how long now? 6 months? Walk away, man. Walk away. Let it go. Let it go. It reminds me of the jab. It really reminds me of the jab. He was insisting to take credit for the jab. I must take credit for the jab. Everyone's telling him, don't take credit for the jab. Don't, stop. No. It was me. I'm the one that was responsible for it. And all his advisors were telling him, stop talking about it. Stop taking credit for it. It's a loser. It's a loser policy. Stop. He's doing the same thing now. He's back to the same thing with Russia and Ukraine. One month of progress, and he's about to flush it down the freaking toilet. Because he can't stop. He can't stop. Unbelievable what he said. Unfreaking believable. So let's talk about the rare earth minerals deal. Let's talk about this thing. So it was announced yesterday by all of the big mainstream media outlets that the Zelensky regime has agreed to sign the rare earth minerals deal. Zelensky on Friday with Trump and Zelensky. Trump is going to be hanging out with the Green Goblin t-shirt wearing Zelensky. Man, it looks so bad. The optics are so bad. Trump hanging out with Zelensky. So freaking bad. Never mind the Zelensky curse. It just looks awful. It just looks awful, man. Trump, stop. Stop, dude. Walk away. Walk away. Anyway, and do business with Russia. Walk away and do business with Russia. Because if there's any country that's going to actually make any kind of rare earth minerals deal in that region a success, it's going to be Russia. There's no other country that can make that a success. Anyway, the deal. The deal, according to Bloomberg, according to the New York Times, the Financial Times, they are reporting that the Zelensky regime is going to sign off on this deal. And the reason that they're signing off on this deal is because there were two big changes. Well, three changes, but two big ones. One really big one, according to the Zelensky regime. And that is the part of the deal which said that the fund would be valued at $500 billion, and all of the money from the minerals would first go into the fund, which was 100% controlled by the United States, and then the revenues would go into the fund, and then they would go to Ukraine, and it would be split 50-50. So the first revenues that would come in, the first 50% would go straight into the fund, and then whatever was left over would then go to Ukraine, and that was how it was going to be structured, and the fund was going to be valued at $500 billion. Well, they got rid of that. They got rid of that, and according to the Financial Times, it's just going to be a fund that will cover revenues going forward. Future revenues is what the fund is going to cover, and there's going to be no dollar amount to the fund. Ukraine agrees minerals deal with the U.S. Kiev hopes agreement on jointly exploring resources will improve relations with Trump administration. The final version of the agreement, dated February 24th and seen by the FT, would establish a fund into which Ukraine would contribute 50% of proceeds from the future monetization of state-owned mineral resources, including oil and gas and associated logistics. The fund would invest in projects in Ukraine. However, the agreement omits any reference to U.S. security guarantees, which Kiev had originally insisted on in return for agreeing to the deal. It also leaves crucial questions, such as the size of the U.S. stake in the fund and the terms of joint ownership deals, to be hashed out in follow-up agreements. Oil, gas, and logistics. Associated logistics. Ports. This is what Trump is going to take to Putin. We now control the oil, the gas, and the ports in Ukraine. That's what he's going to take to Russia. Either he's going to take that to Russia and use it as some sort of bargaining chip in negotiations, or he's going to take that to Russia and say, here we go, now let's do business, both of us, and let's deal with Project Ukraine, let's wrap this up, and let's get to business. Something like that. It's either one or the other, man. It's either one or the other. He's going to either use it as a bargaining chip, or he's going to use it as a way to walk away from Ukraine and do some good business with Russia. But that was the big amendment that was made in the deal, not having the $500 billion, and only dealing with future monetizations, because the previous deal said that it would go into that the $500 billion fund also covered previous money that the U.S. had sent to Ukraine and previous revenue and stuff like that. So Naftogaz, for example, the Ukraine gas company, is not going to be affected. Their revenues, their current revenues and stuff, are not going to be affected by this deal. You're talking about future new investments. That's what's going to go into this fund. The other part of the deal that was taken out, actually, completely scrapped, was the 2-for-1 investment part. Look at this. This is dangerous, huh? That's dangerous. Someone can fall down there. Yeah, the part where it said if the U.S. gives new money to Ukraine, for every $2, Ukraine owes the U.S. $1 back. No, sorry, for every $1. Wait, yeah, for every $1 the U.S. gives to Ukraine, Ukraine owes the United States $2 back. I think that's what it said. Yeah, that's what it said. For every $1 new money invested into Ukraine, Ukraine owes the U.S. $2. That was taken out. And the other small minor change was the jurisdiction where the deal would be governed. The previous agreement, allegedly, it was saying New York, and the new agreement now says that the deal will they will discuss in the future where the contract, where the agreement will be covered under law. So that's it. The worst deal for Zelensky, and the big part about all of this is no security guarantees. There are going to be zero security guarantees. Bloomberg reported in its coverage that for Ukraine, they were convinced that even though there will be no security guarantees in the agreement, the fact that you're looking at a joint venture is security guarantee enough. The fact that the U.S. is going to be investing in Ukraine and you have this joint cooperation, they were convinced that this was all the security guarantees that they needed without putting in the agreement that the U.S. is going to provide security guarantees. Ukraine is screwed, man. They are screwed, but it shows the desperation. It really speaks to the desperation of the Zelensky regime. It speaks to the desperation of the entire Ukraine government, the parliament. It's just a terrible deal, an absolutely terrible deal. Ukraine has lost this conflict. They're losing everything, including all of their resources. Either their resources are going to go to the United States, or their resources are going to go jointly to the U.S. and Russia, U.S. and Russian business. But you know, there's only one country that can make this deal a success for the United States, and that's Russia. I can't think of another country that's going to be able to actually mine this stuff and deal with the oil and gas projects in Ukraine. It's only Russia. And the fact that Russia is controlling the parts of Ukraine where most of these resources are located. Zelensky, what have you done? What have you done, man? The Colombian President Petro, he posted on X that this agreement on rare earth metals was stupid. That's the word that he used. Zelensky's stupidity, and I say this clearly, is that he allowed himself to be manipulated by Western Europeans who do not know where they are going, either to Hitler or to nowhere. Ukrainians are fighting with their Slavic brothers, and in the end, they are giving Ukraine to the Americans. Stupidity. That is what the Colombian President Petro said, who is not a fan of Trump, by the way. Not a fan of Trump. But that's what he posted on X. But it is a very stupid deal for Ukraine to make. But I guess they really didn't have other options. At least the Zelensky regime didn't have any other options. The best option would have been for the Zelensky regime to call Putin and to surrender and to talk directly with Moscow. That would have been the smart thing to do. Absolutely. But they're desperate. They're desperate to keep the conflict going. And so they folded. A couple of changes to the agreements. But the main point is that the resources are going to the U.S., no security guarantees. And we will now see, now we're going to find out what Trump is up to. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to find out exactly what he's thinking, if he's thinking anything at all about this minerals deal. Minerals and more, because Trump calls it minerals and more now. That's what he calls it. It's minerals and more, because we're talking about oil, gas, and logistics ports, which is what I've been saying for the past couple of weeks. Forget about the rare earth minerals. Bloomberg has the rare earth minerals valued at way less than $15 billion a year, if that. Actually, Bloomberg said that all of the rare earth minerals in the world, including China's, are a revenue of 15 billion per year. But Bloomberg also says that oil and gas is magnitudes more in revenue per year than rare earth minerals, which is why in the agreement it talks specifically about oil, gas, and logistics. We'll find out what exactly Trump's angle is. Is he going to sit down with Putin when the time comes? And is he going to tell Putin, I have this contract, I have this agreement with Ukraine, these resources, oil and gas, and Odessa is mine? This could very well be the scenario. Because when I mention Odessa, it brings up a lot of emotion, but I'm just trying to report how I see it. Will he sit down across the table from Putin and say, I have oil, gas, and Odessa, and I'm willing to continue to send money and weapons to Ukraine, so make a deal now? Or is he going to sit across the table from Putin and say, I have this deal, oil, gas, Black Sea, ports, let's work together. Let's wrap up Ukraine. What is this, Istanbul Plus? Okay. All right, let's get this done. Rubio, Lavrov, Witkoff, let's get this done. And Mr. Putin, let's work together and make some money. Is that what's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out, though. We will find out. What do you guys think is going to happen? Or maybe a third option that I haven't thought about. So the Europeans, they're getting none of this stuff. They're getting nothing. They're not even talked about when it comes to these deals. And so what are the Europeans doing? They're now talking about the frozen assets. That's pretty much all the EU has. The 300 billion Russian frozen assets at Euroclear. And so the debate has restarted for the 100th time. Let's take these frozen assets. Let's steal these frozen assets. That's what the Europeans are now debating again and again, these frozen assets. And the interesting part about this story is that the countries that are in the camp to steal the frozen assets, that are for stealing the assets, and they say they're going to steal the assets and give them to the Zelensky regime, but you know, we all know 10% for the big guy, right? 10% for the kleptocrats. But yeah, the countries that are for stealing these assets are the Baltics, big surprise. Poland, a couple of other countries, I forgot. The Baltics, Poland, and also Kaja Kallas. Kaja Kallas is pushing really hard to steal the Russian frozen assets. The camp that is against stealing the frozen assets, we're talking about, this is interesting, we're talking about Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and Ursula von der Leyen. Yeah, they're against stealing the frozen assets. You know why they're against stealing the frozen assets? They say, according to EU officials, they're saying that if we steal the frozen assets, then we lose leverage over Russia in future negotiations. That's not true. If you believe that, then I've got some ancient Greek ruins, ancient Greek homes, I believe is what we're looking at to sell you. Yeah, that's not true at all. They don't want to steal the 300 billion because it's going to complicate things in future negotiations. They're going to lose their leverage. No. The real reason why they're very afraid to steal the frozen assets is because they understand that if they steal these frozen assets, the EU economy is finito. It is finished if they steal these frozen assets. They understand that. Investors are going to pull out their money. They're going to lose a whole lot of trust from the entire world, and the EU economy is going to sink, and that's what they're worried about. So an interesting story there with the frozen assets, but that's all the EU has. That's all they have. Nothing else. So they're debating, should we steal the money? Should we not steal the money? In one corner, you have stunning and brave Kaya Kallas. Steal the money, steal the money. Steal this album. Steal this album, System of a Down. In the other corner, you have Ursula van der Crazy. That's right. Who's going to win? We will find out who's going to win. So, Starmer. Let's talk about Starmer. 008, Keir Starmer. I'm trying to think, where should I walk towards? Where should I go? I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I go left or right? Let's go right. Let's go right. So Keir Starmer, he gave a speech the other day. And Keir Starmer said that 008, licensed to bore you, that UK boots on the ground in Ukraine it's going to happen, he said. It's going to happen if the US decides to support us. That's what he said. If the US gives us support and security, acts as a backstop, then 100% the UK military, all 3,000 of them, with their 500 horses, will be in Ukraine on the ground. That's what 008 said. And then 008, he also told the British people that he's going to take their money and give it to Ukraine. Whatever money he has is going to Ukraine. And he actually stood in front of the British people behind the podium, a podium which had the words, "Secure at home, strong abroad." And he said to the British people, I know times are hard. I know you're suffering. I understand, but tough luck. I'm going to take whatever money I can get, your taxpayer money, and I'm going to give it to the Green Goblin. That is what Keir Starmer said during this speech. Amazing, huh? The Tories are no better, by the way. The Tory leader, I forgot her name, the new Tory leader, Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the Conservative Party. She gave a speech the other day and she compared Russia to Nazi Germany. She said the Conservative Party has always stood guard for its interests, the monarchy, national traditions, the institution of the family, the law, and every threat we have had to face from Nazi Germany, the Soviet Union, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and now Vladimir Putin. She actually said that in a speech. Shame on you, Conservative Party. Shame on you. They're crazy, man. The UK political class has lost its freaking mind. They really have lost their mind. They've taken this whole Churchill, Neville Chamberlain, World War II thing just way, way too far, man. I mean, way too far. Oh, boy. Anyway, that's Starmer. That's the new Conservative leader. No better than Boris Johnson or Rishi Sunak or Cameron or any of these guys. They're all the same. They're all the same. The entire UK political establishment, they're all signed up to Project Ukraine in full, committed to Zelensky. So what else do we have to talk about before we get into a clown world? In Kursk, the situation in Kursk is looking very bad for the Zelensky regime. In the next week or 2 or 3 weeks, not sure, but the Russians are looks like they're going to close the cauldron and annihilate whatever Ukraine forces are in Sudza in the Kursk region. We are getting reports Ukraine is trying to get those soldiers out now. Looks like they're going to retreat from Kursk if they can, but the situation is very bad for Zelensky. Once he loses Kursk, which he considers to be some sort of leverage, I don't know why he considers it to be some sort of leverage, but he does. He's going to trade Kursk for other territory. But once that's off the table, Zelensky's going to look really stupid. I think he's done. I think that's the end of Zelensky. When Kursk goes, Zelensky goes. That's a bold prediction, Cotton. Yep, but I think I'll make that prediction. Why not? When Kursk goes, Zelensky goes. Anyway, let's, one more story before Clown World. Trump says the U.S. will sell Gold Card, giving wealthy foreigners the right to live and work in the U.S. for $5 million fee. All right, the Golden Passport plan. We have that in Greece. We had that in Greece. Now I think it's like a golden residency or something. If you buy property, you get a residency. In Cyprus, we had that, where you would get a golden passport. Now I think it's also, you get residency. They scrapped that whole thing. Made a lot of politicians rich. A lot of politicians get rich over the golden passport scheme. Absolutely, they make a lot of money. You know what happens? You get all of these very wealthy people. They get the golden passport. They put their money into the country. They buy real estate or invest or whatever. And prices go up. At least that's what we saw in Cyprus and in Greece. Yeah, we're small. We're a small economy. Tiny. We're a tiny economy in Cyprus. But all the money that poured in to get the passport, they just drove everything way, way up. All the prices, real estate, everything. Anyway, we'll see how this turns out. But let's do some Clown Worlds. We'll wrap this video up. The first Clown World has to do with Chrystia Freeland, who is running for prime minister to take over for Trudeau. Freeland. Chrystia Freeland. She gave a speech the other day, and she said that a four-year-old girl came up to her. Here we go. Make Corona beer, not war. I agree with that. Tom's Irish, not European. Interesting. Interesting messages. What was I saying? Yeah, a four-year-old girl came up to Chrystia Freeland and looked Chrystia in the eyes and said, "What are we going to do about Trump?" And Chrystia said, "Don't worry, I will protect you." Yep, that was what Chrystia Freeland says happened. She said that actually happened. She then said that she's going to be working with Denmark and the UK, and they're going to form a coalition to go against the United States of America. She said that as well, if she becomes prime minister. That's her plan. A military coalition with the UK and with Denmark to prevent Trump from invading Canada, I guess, is what she's getting at. So that was Chrystia Freeland trying to calm down the fears of a four-year-old girl, asking her about Trump, a four-year-old girl asking her about Trump, okay? Anyway, and we get to the big Clown World, which is the soon-to-be Chancellor Blackrock Mertz, who decided to visit a school, and I thought this was AI. Actually, I didn't believe the video. I still don't believe the video, so maybe this is AI, I don't know. But Blackrock Mertz was visiting this school, and one of the children asked Mertz about Putin and that he was afraid of Putin. And so Mertz had to calm the child down. Don't be afraid of Putin. I'll take care of the evil Putin. Leave the evil Putin to me. Don't worry, young kids, young German children. Absolutely ridiculous, staged, a whole staged event, a staged question, a scripted answer, and absolutely pathetic that they're now using children They're using children to warmonger. They're using children to warmonger. I don't even like to show the video, to be quite honest. I think it's that disgusting what Mertz is doing. But it was a setup. It was staged. It was a setup. And I don't like it. It really shows what kind of person Mertz is. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. The Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, like what I'm wearing in this video update. The link is in the description box down below. Take care.